Admittedly, procrastination got the better of me when it came to the Supergirl videos, pre-hype to the Supergirl movie. I'm not gonna let that happen with Spider-Man though. We're getting a head start on this with Summer of Spider-Man, so here we go. In the wake and hype of Spider-Man Brand New Day coming out, and Spider-Man being my second, or maybe is my favorite comic book character of all time, it's Batman, Spider-Man are my top two heroes of all time. No doubt about that. But it always is a back and forth between which one is my favorite. It kind of just transitions between what I'm in the mood for typically. But right now, with Spider-Man movies coming out, it's time to talk about Spider-Man hype. And with that, I'm going to start off with a series of Why the Scene Works. Why the Scene Works is a series where I talk about essentially just certain scenes, not necessarily reviews of the full movie, but scenes in a movie that make the movie overall really sing, or certain moments that I just love, even from maybe movies I don't like as well. That's what we're going to do with the Spider-Man movies. I have reviews of all the Spider-Man movies on this channel already, but if we're going to talk about Spider-Man movies again, let's just talk about particular scenes that really worked. Starting with the first and foremost, the OG Sam Raimi Spider-Man. I already knew what scene immediately came to mind when I thought about what scene do I want to talk about in particular. It's the third act, because how can you not talk about it? It's awesome. That whole third act where we have a whole movie already that has established Peter Parker and Spider-Man, the duality between them. Tobey Maguire really nailing that innocent yet kind of brash and angry side of Peter Parker that the movie really hones in on in that first half. But then kind of when he becomes Spider-Man, he lets it all go immediately because, you know, he confronts the killer and everything. But like when that happens, we kind of transition to just a typical Spider-Man movie in New York. And after that lead up with Green Goblin, everything being established between the villain and the hero, you don't expect it to go as dark as it does. You get hints of it throughout the movie because Green Goblin is just that menacing force, but just seeing him actually take down Spider-Man and beat the living heck out of him is so fascinating, especially as an adult. You watch it and you're like, wow, I watched this as a kid, because like I grew up in an era where it was only Tobey Maguire for a while. I was there for the announcement of Andrew Garfield, not like there in person. I was alive for that there's a pre-Tom Holland, pre-Andrew Garfield era of Spider-Man. And there are kids now that are going to grow up with just all three Spider-Man being a thing, and it's crazy to think about that. And it's beautiful to think about that at the same time. And just like it's crazy, it's fun talking about this scene in particular because it stands out as a moment when you watch as a kid where you're like, wow, my hero that I've just grown with for 2 hours is now really getting tested. He's really taking a physical hindrance and a beating. And you know, it's almost too tough for kids to watch at times, I think. like depending on the age, of course. My mom was a little wild with what she let me watch back then, but like Spider-Man, like she let me do that. But man, those were moments with the Green Goblin in that scene made me want to look away, because I think that really hones in not only physically what Peter Parker's going through when Goblin throws him through that wall, beats him up physically, before they had the verbal confrontation where he's like, no, I had a father, it was Uncle Ben. It's such a good moment because it attests to what Peter Parker goes through physically, telling the story almost of what the movie has been so far. It's this interesting retrospective look back on what Peter Parker has gone through emotionally becoming Spider-Man, and Green Goblin being that force that kind of reconciles with him, beats the hell out of him. You see it physically again. It really tests Peter Parker. It really kind of foreshadows even what Spider-Man 2 is going to be, in that being a story where Peter Parker's tested physically, emotionally, constantly. It never is a break for him, and that is something this trilogy kind of hones in on typically with him as a character. Getting all tongue twisted, but point is, I love how that third act really exemplifies that and doesn't shy away from Spider-Man going through it. And that is something some superhero movies of today can kind of shy away from or be afraid to show as heavy as this original Spider-Man movie does. The fact that there's no music when they're fighting and going toe to toe, hand for fist, like it's really good. It's really well executed because it's just nothing but menace. Peter Parker's on the defense the entire time. Green Goblin is a unstoppable force in this movie, and he always comes in as such, and it's no exception here. And the way it's shot, the way it's helmed, it makes it almost a completely different movie from the rest of the film in a good way. It shows the escalation of stakes. It shows that Green Goblin is a force to be reckoned with for Peter Parker. This isn't just some Tuesday for him. It's the first time him as a kid, because he is technically still, I mean, Tobey Maguire does not look like a kid in this movie. It's one of the things about his casting, but like it's really cool seeing him get tested still, like as someone who's just kind of come of age in the Spider-Man role. But there's also double meaning behind what that third act entails. The fact that Norman Osborn gets taken out, and it's this moment where Peter looks down. He's not happy about it. It's very realistic in that reaction he has. But also on top of that, it's creating great drama writing-wise between the tensions of him and Harry that are being set up, because there's resentment between Norman Osborn liking Peter almost more than Harry. There's that signs of distant fatherhood that Norman Osborn and Harry Osborn are supposed to like kind of explore, that duality between them. I do wish we live in a world where we got consecutive movies exploring that dynamic between the two before we got Norman Osborn being taken out, but as it stands for a first Spider-Man movie for the time it came out, it makes total sense what they were doing, and it still creates a great drama for Spider-Man 2 and then for Spider-Man 3 to fumble. Spider-Man 1 and 2 do a great job at setting up that drama between those two friends. I love how it's executed in those first two films. What I also love about that final confrontation between Goblin and Peter is that it doesn't last too long. It's not an overblown third act. Like, it's straight and to the point. Peter just got done saving a bunch of people, including MJ. Bam, 1v1, hero versus villain. Who's gonna go toe-to-toe, who's gonna win? And then it ends in a tragic emotional interaction between the two that is very much Parker luck in essence and drama for what it sets up for the sequel. It's very Spider-Man. It's a great Spider-Man scene and a great Spider-Man origin movie that could have not been any better for when it came out. Still love that scene. It's an excellent moment and an excellent third act in a movie I do still love to this day. It's Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 1, baby. Guys, what is your favorite scene from the original Spider-Man movie? What is your favorite scene in the Spider-Man movie overall? We'll be talking about them here throughout the month leading into Spider-Man Brand New Day. Thank you so much for watching Spider-Man Reviews. Leave a like, leave a comment. Summer Spider-Man is here. I'll see you next time.